Saul Canelo Alvarez is the pride of Mexican boxing and became a world-renowned name by going to war with some of the best fighters in the world.
You can fight other really good opponents, but they're not Canelo Alvarez.
With slick head movement, devastating knockout power, and an iron chin, it seemed he was destined for an undefeated career. In one of the biggest fights of our era, Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather, which helped catapult Saul into boxing superstardom. The only question that remains is who defeated Canelo Alvarez, and who did Canelo beat to become one of boxing's biggest stars? Canelo was no stranger to fighting. As opposed to a fighter like Deontay Wilder, who didn't pick up boxing until around 20 years old, Canelo threw on the gloves at just 13 years of age. He began training under the tutelage of Chepo and Eddie Reynoso.
Aquí traemos al Canelo. Ya hora de grande me dio por tatuarme, me tatué los live, los guantes, el nombre de mis hijas, de una cruz. Me tatué a Canelo porque pues se me hizo bonita la foto esa y es algo importante para mí. El Canelo es mi carta de presentación, mi graduación.
Canelo started boxing professionally at just 15 years old against grown men. Starting his career in Mexico, Canelo won 21 of his first 22 fights with only one draw against Jorge Juarez. During this streak, Canelo won multiple titles, including the NABF welterweight title and the WBC youth welterweight title. Canelo's dominance earned him a shot on a Floyd Mayweather versus Shane Mosley undercard on May 1st, 2010.
Getting ready for a fight of this magnitude, you must be ready mentally as well as physically. And in camp, I know what it takes.
Because Mayweather was the most popular fighter in boxing, this was the perfect platform for Canelo to begin building his name and brand. After going through some early adversity, Canelo TKO'd Jose Cotto in the 9th round in devastating fashion. Canelo built on the success of his American debut by knocking out his next two opponents in Luciano Coelho and Carlos Baldomir. Little did Canelo know that the Premier Boxing Championships were building up their next Mexican superstar. After winning his next 5 fights, Canelo was ready for his first major step up in competition. After fighting on the Mayweather versus Mosley undercard, he was now ready to fight Sugar Shane.
Mosley is a very good boxer. And I'm just glad that I have the opportunity to fight him, and he's going to really need to be prepared to step in the ring with him.
Coming off multiple defeats, but still with enough in the tank to provide Canelo a formidable foe, they squared off on May 5th, 2012 in the Las Vegas MGM Grand Arena. In front of a sold-out crowd, this was the biggest fight up to that point in Canelo's career.
They was thinking, Canelo's gonna beat me, and I was like, man, this little kid can't beat me. I got too much experience for him. He's
no Irish kid.
Yeah, no Irish. He's not gonna come. He can't beat me, right? So, and he knew a good body shot. I'm not sure what round it was. I was like,
He proved he was ready for the spotlight, winning a unanimous decision against Mosley. As big as this fight was, it was the appetizer for the mega fight that would turn Canelo into the lucrative boxing mogul he is today. Floyd Pretty Boy Mayweather versus Saul Canelo Alvarez. The build-up to this fight was monumental, and the questions surrounding Canelo were if he was ready for the gigantic leap in competition. While many considered Canelo to be too green for the matchup, people also thought Mayweather was approaching the end of his prime and could get caught slipping.
I think you know what time it is as well. You know what it's gonna be, man. You're gonna take a good Canelo come here to get his ass whooped for real.
The Premier Boxing Championships were astute in giving Canelo increasingly difficult fighters up to this point without overwhelming him. This fight was especially easy to make considering the history of Mayweather and Golden Boy promotions.
This fight is since 2007. Golden Boy has been working with Mayweather Promotion, fight after fight, record after record. It's a pleasure for me now to introduce to you the CEO of Mayweather Promotion, Leonard Ellery.
Confident, outspoken, and with all the skills to back it up, Mayweather was the most hated and most admired fighter all in one. Despite being older, Floyd maintained his fighter IQ and defensive reflexes, making him extremely difficult to hit, let alone land cleanly on.
So difficult to catch him, though. I mean, obviously
he's just elusive, bro. He's just very, very elusive. Just like I said, just me being in there with him, I was just so surprised at his age. How just alert he was, very alert. And he thinks defensive first.
Without a command of the English language, it would be difficult for Canelo to match Mayweather on the mic.
They said, Mayweather, you're facing Canelo. I said, yeah, but can you just tell me 10 world champions that he beat? Just 10. That's all I ask. Just 10. Then I say, you know what? I've been sitting on the top of the throne for 17 years.
On September 14, 2013, in front of the MGM Grand Garden Arena, Canelo took on the biggest challenge of his career. He failed. Canelo was dominated and could hardly land a punch on the masterful boxer. However, there was a huge reason for Canelo to be optimistic about this result. The Mexican boxing fans elevated him as a hero and superstar for taking on the Hall of Famer. Additionally, Canelo became the A-side in all of his future fights, meaning he could dictate the terms, financial splits, weight clauses, and any other stipulations as he pleased.
He will be champion again. He can fight. Got good head movement. He can fight. He's a counterpuncher. He's a boxer counterpuncher.
Canelo miraculously used the momentum of a loss to win 7 straight fights. During this hot streak, he won the Ring and WBC middleweight titles and WBO light middleweight title. This series of bouts led into the biggest fights of his career post-Mayweather. The Canelo versus Gennady Golovkin rivalry. It was believed Canelo was avoiding the fight against the bigger Golovkin, but he eventually stepped in the ring and proved otherwise. After a draw in the first match, Canelo was hit with the biggest controversy of his career. Canelo was suspended for 6 months for doping violations, and questions surrounding the legitimacy of his performances began to circulate. After serving his suspension for clenbuterol, Canelo rematched Golovkin.
Primero que nada quiero decir, también mentiste a tus fans. Dijiste que me ibas a noquear en 6 rounds.
First off, I want to start by saying you also lied to your fans because you said that he would knock me out under 6 rounds. What happened there?
He won a close but majority decision in the rematch. It seemed like Canelo would go undefeated the rest of his career until he came against Dmitry Bivol, a cherry pick gone wrong. During this time, Artur Beterbiev was arguably the boogeyman of the 175-pound division, and Canelo was in no rush to fight for his title.
Canelo, better leave Beterbiev and Bivol alone too. Stay away from both them guys.
Beterbiev and Bivol didn't seem like they were in a rush to fight each other to unify the belts, so there was room for another contender to get in the mix.
Canelo, who's the golden goose of boxing, gets his way with decision, with everything, whatever, forget it. He gets his way with everything. He lays the golden eggs. If his people get their way, this is going to be fought in a telephone booth.
Additionally, Canelo was moving up in weight, so he had to exercise extra caution in his opponent selection to avoid being overwhelmed by bigger and stronger fighters. Bivol came off an unimpressive victory, and Canelo and his management more than likely thought he would be a great name to add to his already impressive resume.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Canelo's toughest opponent for sure. Bivol, he fights while going backwards. He's a big, tall guy. He uses the jab pretty well. So it's going to be Canelo's toughest fight. But Canelo's the GOAT. He's the best in the world right now. I don't care how big Bivol's going to be. No one's going to stop Canelo from winning.
Bivol was a quick fighter with an awkward style, but didn't have the menacing knockout power Beterbiev possessed. Bivol wasn't as physically imposing either, and lacked the durability to fight on the inside and within the clinch like Beterbiev. Canelo's team fought wrong.
Styles make fights, and it surprised me that Canelo didn't adjust. It really did. And I've always said that, a small good fighter will never beat a big good fighter.
On May 7th, 2022, and in the only other loss of his career, he was outpointed and outmaneuvered against the speedy and lengthy Bivol. He lost the WBA Superlight Heavyweight title, and Canelo understandably refused the rematch after being outclassed in a rough fashion. The boxing world was shocked after Canelo was dominated by a fighter who on paper seemed like just another head for him to collect. As usual, Canelo followed a loss with an even stronger comeback. He defended the WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO, and the Ring Super Middleweight titles 5 consecutive times, while also beating Triple G again for the second time to put a permanent stamp on their saga. Canelo cemented himself as an all-time great and Hall of Famer who made Mexicans proud of their boxing heritage. And to watch the losses, breakdown of another boxing legend, check out this deep dive on Anthony Joshua's career.